Where does philosophy, this vast and complex realm of thought, originate from? This query, seemingly simple, unravels a tapestry of intricate narratives, each more compelling than the last. To trace the beginnings of philosophy, we find ourselves journeying back to a time when the line between mythology and knowledge was blurred, when the world was still draped in mystery. Enter the pre-Socratic philosophers, the first known thinkers who dared to question the nature of existence and the universe. These were the pioneers, the trailblazers, who stepped out of the comfort of mythological explanations and ventured into the uncharted territory of rational thought. Their names echo through the annals of history: Thales, who proposed that water was the fundamental substance of all things; Anaximander, who suggested that the universe was born from an undetermined substance he called apeiron; Heraclitus, who famously proclaimed that everything flows; and Pythagoras, who shifted the focus from the physical to the metaphysical, emphasizing the importance of numbers in understanding the universe. Yet the origins of philosophy are shrouded in ambiguity. Some argue that philosophy was born the moment the first human gazed at the stars and wondered about their place in the universe. Others contend that it emerged from the human need to explain natural phenomena. And then there are those who believe philosophy began as a form of rebellion, a refusal to accept the world as it was presented. No matter the perspective, one thing is certain: the pre-Socratic philosophers were the catalysts. They broke away from the conventional wisdom of their time, choosing instead to question, to probe, and to seek. They did not just accept the world as it was, they yearned to understand it. Their inquiries were not without consequence. They sparked debates, incited controversies, and challenged the status quo, but they also ignited a flame that would illuminate the path for future philosophers and thinkers. With their radical and revolutionary ideas, these pre-Socratic philosophers paved the way for the golden age of philosophy. As we delve into the golden age of philosophy, we encounter three colossal figures: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Socrates, the enigmatic figure from Athens, is often considered the father of Western philosophy. Despite leaving no written works, his ideas were immortalized by his students, most notably Plato. Socratic questioning, his most well-known contribution, is a method of inquiry used to stimulate critical thinking and to expose the contradictions in one's beliefs. Socrates believed that the greatest wisdom was in knowing that one knows nothing, a paradox that continues to intrigue modern thinkers. Next, we meet Plato, a student of Socrates and the teacher of Aristotle. Plato's philosophical ideas were recorded in dialogues, a literary form he perfected. His most famous work, The Republic, presents a vision of an ideal society governed by philosopher kings. Plato believed that reality consisted of eternal and unchangeable forms, which could be understood through reason, while the physical world was merely a shadow of these perfect forms. Last but certainly not least, we have Aristotle, the student of Plato and the tutor of Alexander the Great. Aristotle's philosophy was comprehensive, covering a wide range of fields including logic, metaphysics, ethics, politics, and natural sciences. Unlike Plato, Aristotle believed that knowledge came from the senses and that the physical world was real and could be studied to gain understanding. These three philosophers, each unique in their approach, fundamentally shaped the course of Western philosophy. Socrates' relentless questioning instilled the importance of critical thinking. Plato's theory of forms introduced the concept of abstract realities, while Aristotle's empirical approach laid the groundwork for scientific inquiry. Their teachings not only shaped the philosophical landscape of their time but also laid the foundation for future philosophical inquiries. The golden age of philosophy was indeed golden, thanks to the enduring contributions of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. As we traverse through time, the Middle Ages and Renaissance present a fusion of faith and reason in philosophical thought. The Middle Ages, often referred to as the medieval period, spanned from the 5th to the 15th century. During this time, philosophy was heavily influenced by religion. The church was a dominant force, and philosophical thought often centered around religious doctrine. One of the key philosophers of this period was St. Augustine. He harmonized Christian teachings with the philosophy of Plato, proposing that faith and reason could coexist. His work laid the groundwork for many philosophers to come, including Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas, a monumental figure of the 13th century, combined the teachings of Aristotle with the principles of Christianity, arguing that truth could be reached both through faith and reason. As the Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance, the world saw a cultural rebirth. The Renaissance was a period of renewed interest in the arts, sciences, and philosophy. It was a time when philosophers began to break away from the strict confines of religious orthodoxy, exploring the world through observation and logic. One philosopher who embodied this shift was René Descartes. Known as the father of modern philosophy, Descartes championed rationalism, the belief that reason is the primary source of knowledge. He famously proclaimed, "Cogito, ergo sum," or "I think, therefore I am," emphasizing the importance of individual thought and subjective experience. Yet this period also saw the emergence of empiricism, a philosophy that stressed the role of sensory experience in the formation of knowledge. This juxtaposition of rationalism and empiricism created a vibrant and dynamic philosophical landscape. These periods saw a great shift in philosophical thought, setting the stage for the Age of Enlightenment. In the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, philosophers dared to question established doctrines and explore new ways of understanding the world. They laid the foundations for future philosophical thought, proving that philosophy is not just a study of the past, but a living, evolving discipline that continues to shape our understanding of the world. The Age of Enlightenment, a pivotal era where reason was championed above all else. The 17th and 18th centuries were a time of intellectual sprouting, where philosophers sought to shake off the shackles of traditional authority and religious dogma. They sought to illuminate the human understanding, to shine a light on our reason and rationality. Let's delve into this age and meet some of the prominent thinkers who helped shape this era. First, there's Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher who dared to challenge the status quo. He famously declared, "Dare to know, have courage to use your own understanding." This statement, in essence, captures the spirit of the Enlightenment. Kant believed in the power of reason, and he asserted that we could use our rationality to understand the world around us, independent of any religious or societal constraints. Then, there's John Locke, an English philosopher known as the father of liberalism. Locke proposed that we are born as blank slates, our minds empty and ready to be filled with knowledge derived from experience. This idea, known as empiricism, was revolutionary at the time and sparked a wave of new thinking about how we understand the world. And we can't forget David Hume, a Scottish philosopher who focused on human nature and the limitations of human knowledge. He argued that our understanding of the world is limited to our perceptions, and that we can never truly know the absolute truth. Hume's skeptical approach challenged the optimism of his Enlightenment peers, but it also helped to balance their idealism with a dose of reality. These philosophers, among others, used their intellect to challenge the norms of their day. They championed reason and individualism, challenging the traditional authorities that had dominated society for centuries. The Enlightenment era was a time of great change, a time when philosophers dared to question and to think freely. The Enlightenment era's emphasis on reason and individualism paved the way for modern philosophy. As we approach our time, philosophy continues to evolve, reflecting our ever-changing society and its complexities. Modern and contemporary philosophy, spanning the 19th and 20th centuries, brings into focus a myriad of themes and concerns. Let's start with Friedrich Nietzsche, a towering figure in modern philosophy. Nietzsche challenged traditional moralities, asserting the notion of will to power, suggesting that all human behavior is driven by this innate drive. He also famously declared God is dead, signifying the decline of religious belief in modern society. The 19th century also saw the emergence of Karl Marx, who introduced a new philosophical perspective shaped by economic and social conditions. Marx's philosophy, known as Marxism, argues that societies progress through class struggle, with the working class eventually overthrowing the ruling class to create a classless society. Fast forward to the 20th century, existentialism emerged as a significant philosophical movement. Jean-Paul Sartre, a key proponent, argued that existence precedes essence. In other words, we are thrown into the world without a predefined purpose, and it's up to us to define our own meaning in life. In more recent times, contemporary philosophy has grappled with issues of gender, race, and identity. Judith Butler, a leading figure in this realm, has significantly contributed to gender theory. She suggests that gender is not a fixed attribute but a performative act, constantly shaped and reshaped through cultural norms and social interactions. Philosophy, as we've seen, is not a static field, but an evolving discourse. It mirrors the changing landscapes of society, culture, and human thought. It continually pushes us to question, to reflect, and to understand. It's a testament to the unending human quest for knowledge and meaning. From Nietzsche's existentialism to Butler's gender theory, modern and contemporary philosophy continues to shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. Our journey from the pre-Socratic philosophers to the thinkers of our time shows us the vast and varied landscape of philosophy. We've traced a path from the earliest inquiries of existence to the complexities of contemporary thought. The evolution of philosophy, ceaseless and dynamic, mirrors our own quest for understanding. It is a testament to humanity's unyielding curiosity, a pursuit that shapes our worldviews and our societies. As we continue to question, to ponder, and to philosophize, we become part of this grand tapestry, this ongoing narrative of philosophical thought.